let's just talk for a moment here about, you know, obviously the comics are something that I think are kind of something kind of tough when it comes to Gears of War. Even though, like, I haven't read all the novels, I love the novels for what they are. I hope we get some new ones as time goes, but the old ones I feel were better than the new ones. But that doesn't mean that they can't change the future moving forward. So I'm very, very excited about that. Bat1408, thanks for the follow. Designer Durex, thank you for the follow. And Zed, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate the follow as well. Gears of War is hands down one of the most original games of all time, filled with beyond talented players that could easily transition to most FPS shooters because of how difficult a game Gears of War is. And you know, Gears of War a lot of times in my mind is, you know, sure, we could talk about that it's been misunderstood, or it's, you know, a game that definitely deserved more shine and such. Now, I will say this, even though I am a massive Gears of War fan, I love Gears, another game that I love is Call of Duty. Call of Duty, what they've done really well is, well, number one, is Gears of War is an Xbox exclusive. Now, that's not an excuse for a game to not be able to succeed in a major way, but it definitely limits the audience. Call of Duty being on all the platforms makes a big difference, right? Now, on the flip side of that as well, Gears of War is a more mature title, right? Very gory and, you know, obviously very, you can have that heavy language, things of that nature that isn't suitable for all audiences. Whereas Call of Duty, it's still a mature title, but from a competitive or from a, you know, viewership perspective for people, it's not, you know, quite, it's like a PG-13 rating. It's not quite that hard R rating that Gears of War is. Now, Gears of War, I think that we've done, you know, I think what needs to happen moving forward, especially with like the Gears esports scene, whether they tone down on the blood for the esports side of things so that more viewers can watch it, I think is important, because we look at on, like, I'll give you an example with fighting games. So like Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat versus Smash. Smash and Street Fighter, those are two titles that get viewed a ton, right? They're viewed in a major way by lots of audiences because, you know, they're pretty kid friendly and such. But Mortal Kombat is that hard R-rated type of fighting game, right? And so it's not shown everywhere because of that. So it limits that audience. Even though Mortal Kombat is awesome, it's my favorite fighting game of all time, it's still one of those very graphic titles that not all audiences can watch. Now, Gears of War, you can say, yeah, we'll keep this as the WWE of esports, or we're going to keep this as that R-rated esport, or just game in general. It's going to be tough, though, when, you know, just when you talk about growth in the Gears of War, in the, you know, from a, not so much a, you know, fan base perspective, but when you're trying to grow like the competitive scene, you're trying to continue growing the game, that's where it gets really tough. But that being said, Gears of War, I think Gears of War OG execution is the inspiration for Call of Duty Search and Destroy mode. That, you know, that's a really, that's really interesting. Execution's awesome, man. I love that what Gears Esports did, where they took escalation, but they also took execution, and they kind of went back and forth. I think that was really awesome. You know, personally, I think that execution was easier to understand, but I think that escalation was one of the best, you know, game modes that has been invented for whether you're talking FPS or third-person shooters ever. And so I love both of them, and I love that the esports scene for Gears has, you know, been able to do both of those. I just think, guys, that moving forward, we as a community are going to have to really push this thing forward. In a massive way. I mean, we as a community have to come together to push Gears to that next level. It's not just going to happen. You know, you can't just rely on the coalition. We can't rely just on ourselves. We need the coalition. They need us to help grow this thing and blow this thing up, which, when I say blow it up, guys, I mean in terms of Gears of War, in my mind, can be as big as Halo, for sure. Is it going to get to the point of being as big as Call of Duty? I mean, I would love to see it. It's really tough because Xbox, when you're talking to Xbox exclusivity, it's pretty tough, right?